Good evening. It's currently 9 p.m. and you're listening to the 9 o'clock Meltdown, showcasing favorite and up-and-coming local artists with a relaxed coffee house vibe, plus interviews, live studio performances, and more. It's all here on 91.3 KUWS Superior. Now, here's your host for the evening, Simply C.
Thanks, Forrest, and I'm in the studio with Tico. He's here with me this afternoon, brought his electric guitar and a drum machine for us, so this should be a wild, crazy ride. All right, take it away, sir.
All right. Well, the first song I'd like to play is called Punching Bag. Ever since I met you, my life has been a drag. Ever since I met you, my life has been a drag. Everything I do upsets you. Girl, you use me as your punching bag. You're evil in the morning, you're wicked in the afternoon. You're evil in the morning, wicked in the afternoon. Well, Sunday morning I wake up, and that's about the time I dust my broom. Think I'm gonna leave the city. Think I'll go back home to New Orleans. I think I'm gonna leave the city. I think I'll go back home to New Orleans. Where the whiskey tastes like water and the water tastes like gasoline. I'm gonna go around one more time.
And the end of the electric guitar buzz to signal the end of that song.
Yeah, it's a little, gotta have a little of that Stratocaster hum.
There you go. It's a little different than what I'm used to. The acoustic guitar kind of trails off and that's the end.
Right. And, I run into a, set of challenges using a sequencer. But to me, it's really the way I really want to express myself, because I know it would be more practical to just buy an acoustic guitar and sit down and learn it. But I feel that I play music because this is what I want to hear. And if it's not being played on the radio, then I want to create it so I can hear it, basically. And if other people get to hear it too, well, then that's just kind of like a side effect of the cure for my blues, I guess you might say.
Well, art is art, and it has no boundaries and no rules, right?
Right, and I think it's an important fact to be stated that if you're an artist, art is in you, and it wants to come out. And whether you're a welder, if you have no access to fine art, you'll find a way to express yourself, and the art will come out of you. And if you try to force it, that's when you have mediocrity. And I'm not saying that everything has to be precision. Certainly my guitar style is not precise. I don't hold my hands correctly. I actually am left-handed, but I started playing right-handed because I went to a guitar teacher when I was 7 years old, and he says, "All right, let's play us something." And I'd been messing with it, and so I held the guitar upside down, left-handed, and he says, "Oh, you're left-handed? Oh, here, let me restring it." And I said, "Wait a minute, no, I don't. I've been through this with baseball mitts, and always having to have a left-handed scissors, and so I just want to learn so I can grab a guitar and play. So could you teach me right-handed?" So he did, but I've never gotten my fingering position correct. If you watch, there's a few really talented guitarists in this area. Andy Lipke I'm not sure what band he's in now, but he was in the North Shore Trio, and he's a guy to look for technique. He is, I think, of all the people I know in Duluth, he has got the perfect left-hand technique, perfect picking technique. You know, I look at him and I think, boy, I wish I could do that, but I can't. I just do it my own way, but that's important about art. That's what you have to do is just find the way to get it out of you. Otherwise, you'll go mad if you keep it in.
There you go.
Not to be long-winded or anything.
Oh no, that's just fine. I'm your host, Simply C, and I'm in the studio with Tico. And thank you for the grand spiel on art and what art is and should be and could be and would be if other people let it out all the time.
Well, and I think, you know, it's there's a fairly good sized music scene in Duluth. I mean, if you want to get into music, you can get a gig, and that's not so every other place. And it's only, you know, this is an 80,000 person town, which is not that big. I mean, I suppose with Superior, you know, they're close to 100,000, but it's, you know, you can get a gig, and you can get into the music scene, and all you really have to do is just try it. Just go out there, and even if you're not perfect, you know, just go to open mics. There's plenty of open mics. We got the Amazing Grace. The sound person there is pretty good. Beaners, the sound person there is pretty good too.
Well, thank you.
Of course, for those of you that don't know, our esteemed hostess here is one of the premier open mic sound people. But there's a Thirsty Pagan, Sir Benedict's, and I can't stress enough the importance of open mic, because too many times I've run into young people that they want to play, and they play in their mom's basement or their bedroom, you know, and they're really good, and they're like, they're way better than me sometimes. You know, I meet them at a music store, and kids just pulling off this stuff, Angli, Malmsteen. I could never do it, you know, and but they don't, you know, they want to be discovered or whatever. They don't know the process, and the process is just go out there, and the more you perform, the more comfortable you get performing. And when you're comfortable, then you really can get the emotions across to people. And, you know, I hate to say you'll be good, because, you know, that implies that some people are bad. And I don't think there's good or bad. It's just like you're getting up on stage and, hey, this is what I got. You may like it, you may not like it, but this is what I got for you. And it's like a gift. You're giving a gift to the audience. Well, and then, of course, if you get paid, well, then you're performing a service. But so that it changes, you know, and that's why I always say, I never want to be famous, because I don't want it to become a job. And, you know, not like there's too much likelihood of that anyway.
Well, you never know.
Makes me feel better to say that.
You never know.
So, yeah, my advice is, if you want to get in the music world around Duluth Superior, just go to the open mics, and 15 minutes, and after 2 or 3 times, you won't have any stage fright anymore. It's amazing how quickly that dissipates.
I can attest to that. I still remember being in high school, and first time ever being on stage, I was trying out for the theater club. Oh man, I got on stage, my hands were they were like wringing wet, they were so sweaty, and my voice was just all shaky. I was shaking. Yeah. Then I got off stage, and I'm like, I'm never doing it again, I'm never going on stage again. No, I've been on stage many times.
It's easier every time.
It does. It definitely does. And to me, it's a lot more fun doing it with a group of people, but yeah, there are plenty of solo acts out there, theater and music and painting, whatever it is.
Right.
So.
it's just, it's just how you choose to express yourself. And, some people get into it and then they realize, I got nothing. I don't really have anything to say. I don't have anything to offer. This isn't for me. But they never would have known if they hadn't gone out and tried it. And then they can just be a fan or, still love music, and everybody loves some sort of music or art.
And in the words of Jason Wiseau, every band needs a fan.
Absolutely. What a profound statement. Because it's true, if there was just bands and no fans, it would be,
I suppose you could be in a band and be a fan at the same time.
And I think a lot of times, especially at open mic, in the slow periods, that's that's what you find is your biggest fans are other musicians, and but you feed off each other, and you don't you learn things from people, and they say, hey, you could I remember somebody watched my guitar playing when I first started. I've only been publicly doing this in Duluth since 2007, I believe. Maybe it was 2006 was the first time. But somebody critiqued me and he said, why do you play in the box all the time? Why don't you use open strings? Because it'll, you get more resonance. And I just thought, well, because I always play electric guitar. I had an acoustic guitar when I was 7, but when I was 9, I begged and pleaded my dad to buy me an electric guitar. He bought me a J.C. Penney Tiesco Del Rey Japanese-made guitar made out of plywood, and I think back in that day it was $17.99 out of the J.C. Penney catalog, and ever since I had that, I don't play acoustic guitar. I don't play those kind of chords. I play bar chords, and I always play in the box. And but I took his advice, and I said, I got to try that. I got to do my runs and use open strings and see what it is. And so I did it a lot more for a while, but then I've kind of morphed my style into something a little bit different. Just that's easier for me. But it's just an example of the training that you can get and the education you can get just working with people that, if they're honest, they tell you, hey, you know what, you really need to work on such and such.
Right.
And a lot of times people aren't exactly honest because they want to be nice. But once you get to know them, I have friends that are very, very good friends, and I say, I want you to come to the show and tell me what's wrong with my tone, tell me and they know, it's not going to hurt our friendship if they criticize what I'm doing. It's like, your licks are just boring, it's the same thing, and they okay, that's what I got to work on. So it makes me a better person, and I don't know, I just don't think you could buy that kind of training that you could get just playing a simple open mic and making a few friends.
All right. Wonderful advice, and seems like there have been a lot of years spent in the art scene and the music scene.
Yeah, well, I originally was in a band called the Atomic Mushroom Revolt.
What a name!
Yeah, we actually are. That was our first real name, and we played Duluth. We were young, like I was probably 13, 14, 15 during the time, and it was like 78, 79, 80. I remember the first gig I played was with a band, an actual band, was at the Eagles Club, which isn't there. It's a Gold Cross ambulance place now or something. I don't remember what's there now, but it was downtown, and I played. I was probably like I don't know. I was in 7th grade, so whatever you are then, 12 or something like that, and I played Johnny Be Good.
A good song.
I worked on that. I just thought that was like, what I really wanted to be was the front man playing Chuck Berry, and it, it kind of, I don't know, it helped me get over the stage fright, and but then I quit playing from 1981 till like the late 90s. I bought a guitar again, and it was just then I discovered sequencers, and there was a lot more synthesizer opportunities, and the beauty of that is you can, I can do my own thing. I can control it. I can write a chord progression. I can write a song, and then I can just step sequence it. And you put like the song I just played. If you listen to it, the drum part is just. It's super easy to program that because you only have to do it for one measure, and then just tell the sequencer how many measures you want, and then put the bass part in, and there's the bass part. It's like 3 notes,
Right.
but you put it together, and then you just arrange it in a chord progression, and I don't know, it's, if I had advice for somebody who is kind of a loner, and maybe I'm just a control freak, and it's hard for me to work with a band, but not that I don't work with a band at times, but I actually prefer my solo show.
Yeah, because it's completely in your lap, and you get to do.
I can the bass. I can control how loud they're playing, and the drums how fast, and I don't have to compromise. But you do lose something, and it's different working with a band. And I'm in a couple bands. I'm in Group 2, which is a blues band, and basically I just play lead guitar, and this other guy, Bob Flatt, writes all the songs, and he decides what we play, and I don't even practice with him. He tells me when the gig is and where it is, so I know what kind of equipment to bring, and I just show up, and they start, and I figure out what key it's in, and
So very, very much so on the fly then.
Right, it's all improvised. Improvisation. It's sort of, like jazz musicians do that. They basically know the song, and then they
add their
just
own.
play their improvise.
All right. Do you have a kind of bluesy song for us?
Oh, I got lots of blues. You like fast or slow or?
Oh man, don't make me choose. I'll let you pick that one.
All right.
Tico is in the studio with me this afternoon. You're listening to the 9 o'clock Meltdown here on 91.3 KUWS right here in Superior. And I'm watching him move this little dial around. I can only assume he's going through a list of different beats, backbeats, you could say.
Yeah, the different patterns that I've... and the funny thing is, when I write them, I name them. So then later I write the words, and it's totally different than what the name of the beat is. So I have to kind of remember in my mind which beat goes with what.
Or carry a big book with you that has everything.
All right. This is another 12-bar progression, but it's a little bit faster, and it's a little a little more intense. So I kind of started out with a little Latin section. So. Throw me a lifeline. I believe I'm sinking down. Throw me a lifeline. Believe I'm sinking down. Throw me a lifeline. I believe I'm sinking fast. Well, throw me a lifeline. I believe I'm sinking fast. I know that ain't the first time, but it sure won't be the last. Throw me a lifeline. Well, I'm going down to stay. Throw me a lifeline. You know I'm going down to stay. You might as well let me go under. You never loved me anyway.
A wonderful little end ditty to that song.
Yeah, now that faded out properly, right?
There is no properly
You
here.
know,
It's all good.
the trick is always shutting the machine off,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I try to keep it light so that people know I'm not too serious when I'm playing, and yeah, I'm trying to do something here, but what it is, I'm not sure.
You know, you can go with the excuse of it's art. And that's
It's
not an
art,
excuse. It
yeah.
is art. It's art for the ears. Tico is in the studio with me this afternoon, and now you're an electric guitar player. The drum machine. It's not extremely common around these parts.
Yeah,
Well,
it's.
Well, not completely.
I think people
mainstream,
dabble
but-
in it, but well, like Mark Gartman has kind of gotten into sequencers, and he's got a great old Kraftwerk kind of sound. When I was a kid, I loved Klaus Schultz. I loved Tangerine Dream. It was like in Duluth, you couldn't get those records, and I had a friend whose dad went to Germany, and he gave a big list of all the records he wanted him to buy for him, and so he came home with Body Love by Klaus Schultz. And for anyone who, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, a college radio station, but if you want to hear some of the greatest experimental music before techno, before before Lady Gaga and Skrillex and all that, that's a recommended album to listen to. Body Love by Klaus Schultz. And but I've always loved that, and I have a collection of synthesizers and a collection of other sequencers that sequence more dance music and things like that. And I throw that stuff out once in a while. And things that I record, it's not just basic blues or 4-chord loops, which is basically all you can do with the drum machine is, make these loops. And I prefer the loop because, you can sequence a whole song, but then you have to get it right every time. You can't miss any cues. But if you got a loop, I know there's 8 chords or there's 4 chords or whatever, and it's going to come back. So I'll just play some lead here until it comes back to the one. And then
So it allows you to improv in the middle of a song.
Yeah, and really that's what it's all about for me. I don't keep records of the songs I write. What I do is I write down while I'm working. I'll be unloading a truck with a forklift, and some great line will come to my head, and I carry around a digital recorder, and I'll just start singing into the recorder, and all the other guys are looking at me. I'm driving this forklift. And you talking on the phone? What are you doing? And then later I'll get to the studio, and once I record it, then whatever I've written the words down on or whatever, I just lose that, so I don't really have a record of the words of the songs. But once I've recorded it, pretty much I'll remember it. And so, I could probably use with some secretarial work to, if I wanted to really get serious about my music, I would have to do a little more book work with it. But for now, it's just kind of fun, and songs remind me of things. And
There you go. Now, your sound is kind of bluesy, kind of a little bit of rockabilly in there. Is that just kind of how it morphed into throughout the years? Playing in different bands and just kind of experimenting with your own stuff?
Well, yeah. When I was with the Atomic Mushroom Revolt, we were a punk band, but I always loved the blues, and jazz, old jazz, like John Coltrane before he got stoned so bad. And him and like Miles Davis, they started really going off the deep end. But like Favorite Things album by John Coltrane, I love that. I wore that one out. But then I like Creedence Clearwater Revival, and their simplicity of the 12 bar. And, Freddie King was a big influence, and Albert King,
Mm-hmm.
and B.B. King. So it's kind of easy. You go to the record store when you're a kid and just go to the K's and grab all the B.B. King, Albert King. But then then my friend introduced me to someone I had heard of, but I never thought much of him, before this. But he got a copy of Blow by Blow, which came out in 1975 by Jeff Beck, and I heard that, and I said, wow, he does all that with a guitar? It's like, what is he using? And so I count Jeff Beck as, sometimes I imagine when I'm under the lights that I am Jeff Beck. But it's just in my mind, and I think everyone does that.
Yeah, envisions them as
I think most
else.
of the single guy with a guitar acts in Duluth, they get up there and they imagine they're Bob Dylan. I'm just saying, but I imagine that I'm Jeff Beck.
There you go. And Bob Dylan has a unique sound too.
Yes.
Or he did. Maybe he still does. I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't heard any of his new stuff, honestly.
Well, actually, what's a really fun record of Dylan's came out a couple years ago. It's his Christmas album.
Mm-hmm.
And at first glance, you hear it, and it's like, is this a joke? But if you listen to the whole thing, it's actually, it's Dylan, and he's just interpreting Christmas songs that everyone knows. And I think with a guy like him, unless you're a hardcore fan, you got to listen to his new records a couple times, because you'll hate it the first time you hear it. It's like, oh, this isn't anything like Blood on the Tracks, but it's because he's always evolving. And even as old as he gets, he's still got, he's still got a foot above some of the most creative people that are on the scene today.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as guitar players today goes, beside Jeff Beck, I would say Walter Trout, and he's been around a long time. He's not exactly a today guitar, but John Mayer is fantastic, and he gets a lot of bad talk. I don't have a TV, but people that have TVs seem to hate him because he must do interviews where he's cocky or whatever. But I listen to his playing, and it's like, yeah, he's got the tone. He plays through a Dumble amp. It's a $78,000 amp that's made by a little guy in his garage in California named Dumble, and he's got the tone, and he's got the tone in his fingers. He's not. I don't know. He's not the same as Stevie Ray Vaughan. He gets compared to that, but he's got a little more of a sense of the larger music world than Stevie Ray Vaughan did. But anyway, yeah. And then Papa Chubby, he's awesome. And Johnny Highland is great. So it'd be on those, and they're all blues players. So I guess that's who I like the most. But
All right, there you go. So blues is definitely an influence for you.
yeah.
All right. Do you find that music kind of has to keep evolving? Not necessarily to keep up with the times, because there are great scat singers from way back in the 20s and 30s that people still listen to today. But do you find that it kind of, you have to evolve as an artist to keep up with the ever-changing pace of art?
If you want to be a relevant artist your whole life, you have got to evolve. You got to. Bruce Springsteen, even though he basically always sounds the same, he definitely evolves, and that's why you go to his concert, and he plays for 3 hours, and every song is a hit that you've heard. Doesn't play anything that you've never heard before on the radio. And that's a testament to someone who changes with the times. And you have to do that, but you have to remain who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's very much so a balancing act. Then.
Yeah, because the whole music business, the commercial aspect of it is the only people who get radio play, beside on your fine show on your station,
this fine station.
Yeah, in the
and the other one
in the commercial world, it's only those who are relevant right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Skrillex. I like that dubstep. But that's in a couple of years already. It's pretty passé with most people. It's hipster to hate it. Whereas last year it was hipster to know about it, and it's very fickle.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't realize that they're just falling into this commercially driven dictation of what is good and what is
Mm-hmm.
not good. And there's
Right.
an old saying, it's like a wise man said, some wise man, I don't know, wiser than me, probably knew what his name was, but anyway, he said, I can't tell you what is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it applies to music, because it's like whatever sells is what's good. That's
Mm-hmm.
and so I think that if you want a career in music, you've got to listen to everything, and don't be prejudiced. Don't say, oh, that's
Mm-hmm.
not for cool people. I love
Yeah.
Britney Spears.
She's still around.
I think the whoever does the production, I don't really read up on it or anything, but
Right.
I'll listen to it when I'm driving a truck or something. I'll flip around the dial, and whoever does the production on her records it's excellent. And she just you can tell they're just using like an Akai MPC 5000 or something, or they would have years ago. I don't know what they got now. I'm sure it's all computer, but and she'll say something like into the say one line into the microphone, and then the whole song will be made off that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all done electronically, and there's no way that they could recreate that exactly without just basically doing what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
just playing the sequenced music, and then hopefully, pump her full of enough drugs so that she can get through the performance and just, okay, Brittany, just sing these words, And they keep the songs simple, but hey, she sells records. She makes a living doing it.
Yeah.
And she, it's her creativity. That's where she found herself. She was a musketeer, whatever. And where do you go from there when once you've been in the Mickey Mouse Club? I mean, life's downhill. But
You continue to be, now you continue to be under the Disney thumb and turn into Miley Cyrus or something.
And look at what happens to those people, and so they're creative people. They're tortured, they've got things going on in their mind and their soul or whatever, and so they're musicians too. But yeah, listen to everything, and go to the symphony and listen to the old. The symphony used to be what listening to the radio would be now,
Mm-hmm.
because they
Right.
didn't have anything, and some guy would write a score, and that was like a record,
Mm-hmm.
but you couldn't play it on a record player or a CD player or whatever. You had to get 100 people together with violins and all these instruments. It was
Mhm.
pretty complicated.
Yeah.
So it was very important when they had a performance of a symphony that, people valued it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like you listen to it once, and you know, you'd go away and maybe you wouldn't hear the symphony for another year, but you'd remember it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it was very real to people.
All right. Very insightful there, Tico. Thank you very much for that one. Kind of hitting off mainstream music to John Mayer, who might be labeled indie. I'm not sure. I haven't looked up his bio.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he was a pop sensation a few years back, and I think that's what made him a lot of enemies, and a lot of people don't have respect. But, you know, I listen to his fingers on the strings, and he's fantastic.
Yeah, he's definitely a good guitar player, definitely. And so are you, sir?
Well, I just, you know, I'm just having fun.
Hey, that's the bottom line, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, how do you find that kind of, now we were talking a little bit earlier and you lived down in Arizona for a little while. Did you ever get into the music art scene down there?
Not really. It's a lot different in a place like that. They're right around Mesa, around the Tempe. There's a few coffee shops, but they're very, you know, the whole place is like a gigantic McDonald's and a Walmart. You know, that's the whole city of Phoenix. Every building is new, and you know, there's no stinky old, dirty old
no nostalgic
venue. You know, every place is real antiseptic, and you know, they had open mics down there and whatnot, but it wasn't the same. You know, a place like Duluth, it's like Baltimore or something. You know, it's old, and these buildings have been lived in by other people, you know, long ago. Right. So there's sort of the ghosts of what went on here, and you know, it was an industrial town, and a lot of shipping and that, and well, now not a lot of that going on, but you know, it's just the world changes, and you know, what was once made sense is not practical anymore, and you know, so that's how that goes. But yeah, it just was a harsher, more antiseptic environment to try to be creative in.
Yeah. And you're out in the desert. I wouldn't assume there's much to look at.
Right. Well, and, you know, it's beautiful there. I mean, there's a lot of beauty there, but you know, there's beauty everywhere. And but I guess the thing is, a lot of places like that, if you don't play covers and have a cover band, whether it's a metal cover band or a country cover band or whatever, it's you know, you're not going to get any. No bar owner is going to have you there, because you'll drive people away, because they're just, that's the way it was like 10 years ago anyway.
Yeah.
But
they want to
the
hear
thing I knew about Duluth,
covers that they know.
I only left for 2 years, and I came back, and I had been a cartoonist for the Ripsaw from the second issue on, you know, so I was involved with those people for a while, and you know, I always had that in my mind. It's like, boy, I kind of miss that whole scene that was going on, and it was like the first couple homegrowns, and so when after I came back, and I don't know, just I guess one fateful day I got up and performed, and see what happens, you know, and there you go.
It took off from there.
Yeah, but no, I didn't perform down in Phoenix. I just kind of for my wife and the dog. You know, the dogs would howl and whatnot.
Yep.
Everybody's a critic, right?
There you go. There you go. Dogs seem to be the worst.
Yeah, because it hurts their ears. You know, what are you doing to me?
That's okay though. Now, do you have another song to kind of close out this session?
Yeah. How about if I do one? I'm gonna do one. This may be a little bit difficult.
All right.
I
Sounds
don't
good.
want to go too nuts here with something loud. And
Oh,
some of my
you
stuff,
you can go nuts. It's okay.
some of my stuff is loud, but I wanna play kind of a soulful one.
All right. Sounds good. This has been the 9 o'clock meltdown, and I was your host, Simply C, this evening. Thanks for joining me. And Tico joined me this afternoon. Thank you so much, sir. And
thank
he's
you.
he's itching to go here. All right, and you can catch him Wednesday nights at Beaner's
Wednesday
Open Mic.
nights, yeah. Actually, I'm only the host the third Wednesday of the month.
Okay.
And the third Friday of the month, I play at Sarah's Table. And those are my two gigs that are
Okay.
always going on.
And then if they want to see the different bands that you're in, one of them is
Group 2,
okay.
and we've got a schedule for the summer. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I know I'm playing at Billy's sometime in June.
All right.
But, it's up to you if you want to go out to Billy's on Gene Duluth Road.
Wow.
It'll be fun.
It'll be an adventure for people.
All right.
All right. Well, good luck to you, sir, with all your different endeavors. And actually, before this, Homegrown actually got over with this year, not too long ago. And
Yes.
how was that for you? It's the 15th year of Homegrown.
It was great. I had a gig Friday night
Mm-hmm.
at the Lake Avenue Cafe, and I couldn't believe how packed it was. Every venue was packed. Then,
Yeah.
And on Saturday night, I was at the Teatro Zacconi with Bill Bastian. I've been collaborating with him,
Mhm.
and that was packed. And it's like, oh boy, a little pressure here, But I think the attendance this year has been better. I've been playing in probably the last 6 of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the attendance has been amazing this year, which is good. That means they're reaching out to more
Mhm.
people, not just hipsters like yourself and me, and how hip we are. But yeah, I think it's going to be around a long time.
Mhm.
Next year is 16, it'll be the Sweet 16.
Right, there you go.
So
Better bust out a
what a
gigantic
16-year-old is like. They want to, they know everything. They
Mhm.
want to go
Yeah.
drive. They want to.
Yeah.
Can't tell me what to do, man.
Got to get that homegrown chicken out from behind the wheel.
Right. You need like a ear piercing or something. Something that makes your parents angry.
I think the chicken already did that. I have a T-shirt that has the chickens
Oh,
on it,
okay.
and one of them has a spiked collar and a beak ring.
Oh, beak ring.
A beak
okay.
ring. So.
Yeah. So he's starting young, starting early.
Yep. There you go. And now, Tico, before you start that song and we kind of close out the evening here, how did you get your name, Tico? It sounds unique.
Well, how it happened was I had a dog named Tico who was a Chihuahua, and I had another dog named Mister who was a boxer. And one Christmas, for my ex-wife, I made her a CD featuring the two dogs and me. And since the most dominating presence in our home at the time was the dog Tico, it was obvious he was the leader, and Mister and I just were going to follow along. So
Mhm.
I took the dogs. I had to squeeze Tico to get him to bark, because he wouldn't bark into the microphone, And then once I squeezed him and he barked, then the other dogs started barking. So I got a lot of barks from these dogs, and so I wrote a song called "Bark at the Mailman," and it featured the dogs barking and me singing and doing the music. And so that was a CD I gave her for Christmas, was the Tico 3, Bark at the Mailman. Then when I started performing, they said, what's your name? And I said, I'm not going to be Israel Malachi. I mean, it's like, come on, that's...
Well, Israel in itself is a unique name, though.
Yeah, but it just to me, it wasn't like, Johnny Rotten or something that you can remember. So I thought, it's the Tico 3. And so I've just used that ever since, and people refer to me as Tico, you know, assuming since I'm the only person they see
Right.
that I am Tico, and that's okay. I don't mind being known as Tico, and maybe someday I'll invent an image and I'll just call myself Tico and go with that. But I guess I just don't take it seriously enough to to think that far in advance.
And that's okay. It's art.
It's art.
All right. Well, thank you very much, sir, for joining me. And take it away. This
All
is
right,
Tico.
this one's called Annabelle, and it's kind of a gentle, soft song. It's about it's actually about my brother's dog is named Annabelle, but I don't know. It may be about my ex-wife, but who knows? We'll find out. Ready? Your long chestnut hair flying in the air, your brown thoughtful eyes, your penetrating stare. I know you're gone, Annabelle, I don't know where. Annabelle, Annabelle, you know I really miss you. Annabelle, Annabelle, I wish I could kiss you. Oh, Annabelle, my heart will not dismiss you. What would I give for one more fleeting glance, one more summer walk, one more moonlight dance? Oh, Annabelle, I don't think I'll get the chance.